Thanks for dropping in. My 3D printers and I are enjoying an extremely rare break while I'm away for a trip. That won't stop me from designing models, but I won't actually have anything properly printed until I'm back home. So, to remind the internet that I still exist, we're doing a Q&A video. This isn't my typical content, so if you're just into the models, check back in 2 weeks when I hopefully will be back and not too jet-lagged. With that out of the way, let's get to the questions. First up is a design question. Do you design stuff by sketching how you want it to look on paper first? Or do you immediately dive into designing software when you get an idea? Well, most of my designs include at least some initial sketching, even if it's only to get an idea down before I totally forget it. Let's take, for example, the Dracula's Tower puzzle box. Before modeling, I sketched out a couple ideas for the puzzle mechanism, and also some ideas on how the shell might look. Both the mechanism and the exterior changed once I got to modeling, but the sketch at least gave me a start. Here's a few more sketches that somehow avoided the trash can. Do you recognize any of these for the models they became? You might even spot an idea that's a potential future project. The next question is closely related. How do you design the mechanical parts of your gadgets? And do you simulate them? More mechanical designs tend to go through a lot of sketches and prototyping. The best example of this is probably the recent Pumpkin Chunkin catapult. To get the throwing arm to work the way I wanted, I created an entire linkage construction kit. This could have easily been simulated in software, but the physical prototype made the process more tactile and intuitive to me. The question continues, for gadgets with mechanical parts, do you start with mechanics and then dress them up? Or do you start with the outside shape and then add the mechanics? I tend to think of mechanisms first and aesthetics later, which is probably why my designs aren't all that visually complicated. If you dare to check out some of my super old videos, I talk through the process of designing the barrel Cooper's puzzle box, and how that became a barrel only after developing the main trick to the puzzle. Next up are some printer questions. How many printers do you have? At the moment, I have 5 printers that get regular use. 3 Prusa MK3 printers, a Project R3D dataless, and, as of last week, a Prusa XL. There's also a TierTime Cetus Mark II, which was my very first 3D printer, so I keep it mostly for sentimental reasons. There's also 2 Sidewinder X1 printers, which were great for printing face shields, but they haven't had much print time since. And finally, there's the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. I'll eventually learn how to use it, but I just haven't had much need for resin printing. By the time this video goes out, I might also have a Cocoa Press printer, so expect some chocolate-focused designs in the future. Which printers do you use for prototyping? Unless I'm printing something huge, the Prusa MK3s get first dibs on all prints. That's both prototypes and the final results you see in these videos. MK3s aren't the fastest option around these days, but I've gotten reliable results from them for years. Have you ever built your own printer? I haven't designed one or built anything custom. My first Prusa was a kit, so I guess you could say I've assembled a 3D printer. If you use it long enough, every 3D printer eventually requires maintenance, so it's a good learning experience to assemble at least one. That process taught me one other lesson. I am a lot faster designing models than building printers. Do you have a video on your printing setup and methods? No, not yet. The truth is my setup is fairly stock. I tend to print slowly, I use easy-to-print materials like non-silk PLA, and I design models that are relatively easy to print. When I do tweak my print profiles, it's usually to add extra perimeter walls for strength, brims for bed adhesion, or purely aesthetic infill patterns for the top and bottom layers of a print. Is there any sort of improvements in 3D printing you wish the industry would take? Printers are consistently becoming easier to use and more reliable, so I'm pretty happy with that progress. On the other hand, we're going the wrong direction with filament waste. I'd like to see more opportunities to recycle or otherwise reuse that material. PLA is also only sort of biodegradable. If a fully biodegradable alternative like PHA could replace it, that would be a huge step. What's your favorite printer design that you've made? Probably the Barrel Cooper's puzzle box. What, you expected me to hem and haw over the question? Yes, it's not my most popular design, and it's a bit of a pain to assemble. And yeah, getting the necessary hardware isn't easy. But I'm stupidly proud of the tricks built into this little puzzle box. And it's incredibly fun to see the look on a puzzle solver's face when they discover the answer to opening this barrel. Puzzles are a bit of a niche though, so I'll give a shout out to my second favorite design, the little fidget snowman. These mini snow people have been remixed, customized, rescaled, painted, and shared by so many talented makers. It really feels great to see a design take off like that. It's also a great craft project for kids, since you can print lots of parts in different colors, and then let them pick and choose how their snow person should look. Finally, we have a question about Zelda the cat, the real face behind the 3D Printy channel. When will we get a Zelda the cat model? Okay, I wanted to say, right now, and then link you to a new model. But this'll take a little time as I keep perfecting my sculpting. After all, I can't just post any old cat model, can I? No. A Zelda model is inevitable, but like Zelda herself, will not be rushed. Okay, that's all the questions for this video. Thanks for sticking around, even though it was just me talking the whole time. I'll be back soon with some new models, and hopefully some vacation inspiration to make those designs even better. Until then, happy printing, and thanks for stopping by. In the spirit of a Q&A, let me show you the rest of the studio. Here's the table where everything is filmed. My shelf backdrop, which hardly ever makes it into the videos. And my hexagon wall, which I use as the backdrop for all my thumbnails. This used to be part of that wall, but the shelving just kept on taking over space. So now I just have to fake the hexagon wall with this bit of cardboard. And of course, we have the most important part of the studio, Zelda.